Welcome to Mershman Seeds Cup of Joe. On this episode, hear how to combat herbicide-resistant weed populations. Has harvest started in your area? Send us your photos for a chance to be seen on social media. Lynn and Dylan update us on plant health and overall crop conditions. Product guides are landing in your mailboxes. If you haven't checked us out in the past, you may want to this year.
Hi, this is Joe Mershman. Welcome to Mershman Seeds Cup of Joe. Today we have Dylan, Lynn, and Turk. And we're going to start with Turk today.
Monsanto Bayer this week released a communication saying that they had identified two populations of resistant dicamba weeds in Iowa, in Scott and Marshall counties. And they're continuing to monitor them and for confirmation, but I would suspect that probably sometime this winter Iowa State will probably confirm that those are resistant populations.
Water hemp, right?
Water hemp, yep.
Well, that's not what we want to hear, but it just goes to show the importance of multiple modes of action, that pre and obviously using multiple modes of action on the post side too. So that's the best way to limit resistance. No question about it.
Yep, it's really a good time of year to go out and look at those fields, and if you see a weed that doesn't look like he's been affected at all, there's probably a good chance that that's some resistance that is building or has built, and they want everybody to actually report those findings if they find weeds that just don't look like they've had any thing holding them back at all.
Well, we have to start applying when weeds are 2 to 3 inches tall instead of the 6 to 8 inches that many times it happens, because a water hemp grows just as fast as a corn plant. You know, we're always amazed how fast a corn plant grows, but basically I always say when you see the water hemp poke to the ground, by the time you get the water in it and the chemical in and spray it, it's already at label.
There's I think there's like 4 or 5 states now that have identified resistant water hemp to dicamba. So,
well,
I think you're correct on that too. And to Joe's point, when we look at the spraying of this stuff, there is we have to be careful that as farmers, and this is maybe Farmer Lynn putting his hat on, that we don't first blame the chemistry or maybe claim a resistance when there's some things that we could do from a management standpoint. When I look at folks that are using just straight Liberty, are we using enough gallons for coverage? Are we using enough pressure? Are we attacking that weed at said height? And I know when we get into the Liberty side, as they're smaller, if they are smaller than what the bean crop is, we've got to be really, really cognizant that we're blowing it down in there and hitting all those growing points. Because what I've noticed, there's been talks that Enlist doesn't work or Enlist isn't having the efficacy that it has, and a lot of it comes back to isn't a matter of tolerance. It's the mixing sequence, or using Enlist 1 with clethodim and having some antagonism and not running a glyphosate or glufosinate to get that synergy. So yes, it's a scary time with that. They're both, dicamba and Enlist are both in the auxin family, but I think it's very important to make sure, though, as stewards of the land, that we are doing our due diligence when we know our labels, we know our products, we're attacking this, we're laying our residuals. We still have tools in the toolbox to combat this. We just have to make sure that we do our job. We're not in a rush to just get stuff done. I'm not saying that as an industry we're falling into that trap, but we tend to be. We're getting bigger, we're getting faster. Spraying is one of those that we just have to make sure that we're doing our due diligence to combat that, get it taken care of, and not let any escapes get through and build resistance through, I guess, death by 1,000 cuts.
Yep. I think they had actually talked about the fact that these population had been sprayed both pre and post with a single mode of action, and had not done the multiple mode of action due diligence like you're talking about, and so that's part of the problem with these particular populations, is they just didn't see it quick enough to prevent it, so to speak, or delay it.
And not to pile on the dicamba system, but that is one of the you know, the downsides in soybeans with using the Extend system is that Kevin Bradley, I was at a field day, and he flat out said, he goes, when you spray dicamba, even if you put Roundup in with it, I consider that one mode of action against water hemp because Roundup has no efficacy. So as we're looking, you know, the topics are at least two modes of action against it, and we'll be able to take care of that. When we look at that system, it's very hard to have that second mode of action just because we can't add Liberty into the tank with dicamba because of A, the label, and B, we know that it's a volatility risk, and it's just nothing that anybody wants to take on.
Yep.
Well, anything else, Lynn, that you have for today?
So the biggest news, I guess, in the countryside is the you know, the early corn varieties are starting to come off. I haven't been given yield yet, but everyone's talking it's in that mid to upper 20s. So there's some folks that are taking advantage of some September markets by certain buyers, and it sounds like everything is coming across very quickly acres wise. You know, there's some talks that corn numbers across the Corn Belt have taken a hit a little bit with the good to excellent index. So I'm still optimistic locally looking at corn. You know, you've looked at corn as well. We're still holding on very well, but you know, we get in those areas that had June stress, caught some rain in July, and now August and September haven't looked very favorable. That I think some of the optimism that was going into harvest has definitely fallen off. Beans look to be our early varieties. The ultra early varieties, I guess, for areas look to be doing pretty good. They were able to take that July rain and get good seed fill. As I look into what I would call the average or middle of the road maturities, they're kind of getting, some of them are getting kind of hung out there a little bit. We're seeing 3 bean pods, but one of them is flat. And then the later maturities are taking advantage of some September rains we just got. You know, the hurricane is blowing in. We have a chance for some precipitation at the beginning of the week. I think our later group maturities, if you've planted the allotment, I think you're going to be very happy with the latest maturity that you planted in your given area. So very excited to get in the field. I think there's a thing with beans that we just don't know the yield until the combine tells us what it is. So
yep, pretty hard to judge.
Yep. So you know, we're talking about right now with the corn going through the very fast maturation process that it has. You've been out looking at some of the Mershman corn, and you know, just today you were looking at some in comparison to some of our competitors. How's our late season health and our Stay Green look in comparison?
Yeah, so I was in a plot with all types of competitors all across the board, and our stuff is really holding up well. When I first pulled in the driveway, you can tell right when our corn starts because it turns green. I mean, it's starting to, of course, dry down, but the whole stalk, it's still standing good. It's not topping over on the top. From the bottom up, it's still green. Then you pull down the husk, and you're not to black layer yet on some of the later maturing. So, I mean, that's still good news. Everything's holding up really well. And then the early 108 day, it's starting to dry down, which is what it's supposed to do. So,
yeah, very cool. And I know was at Thompson's field day here. Would that have been on Tuesday night? And you know, that was the conversations that I had with guys. Was they were talking about how the Stay Green and the plant health of these new Mershman varieties was very impressive, given that the blast furnace that, for lack of better terms, that we had. And I'm very impressed. Yields look to be very strong in those areas, and you know, it is something that is an adjustment for us. You know, we have the best of both worlds with being able to use the Stein shorter corn, you know, girthy ear, a little bit shorter ear length, and then stacking those in. And then we go to the Mershman varieties that have a very long ear, maybe just a little bit less girth, and able to take advantage of our, you know, our situation regardless of what the soil type is. So it is very, very exciting to see that stuff out there and see it thrive. I think from a complete package, I got to give Ben kudos to picking the varieties that we have. I think the market is definitely very exciting. Joe forwarded me a voicemail of someone from Kentucky that got our mailer and was excited to try some Mershman corn. So,
yeah, and just keep in mind that the new PowerCore products is a brand new trait, with multiple modes of post action. In other words, if you get into a situation where you need to do a little cleanup, you've got Liberty, Roundup, 2,4-D up to 36 inches in height, and then you also have the FOPS or the Assure herbicide, grass herbicide. So nothing out there like it. It's brand new, and then we think that we've got it in some of the more premier genetics that, and again, we'll find out here in a week or two or three. And but everything we've seen so far says that we're going to hold our own against anybody that brings it on, and plus we're going to have a better herbicide package, and then of course 2 modes of action above ground with the Herculex and the Double Pro trait. So I think we got lots of options for you, and like you had just mentioned, the seed guides marketing department's been very, very busy. They were all mailed out here a little over a week ago now, so you should be getting our seed guides in the mail, and gives you an opportunity to look at our wheat right now, and then look at the new corn products that we're going to be bringing, as well as a whole list of new soybean varieties and some of the ones that you totally recognize as standards out there. So, I think early order is always smart. I always tell farmers, the only reason you wait to order is because you want to pay more, but we're projecting good supplies, no issues, and of course, we can't keep beating that drum enough about how our starting line and starting line plus seed treatment is. There's nothing else out there like that, and we encourage a debate amongst any companies that think they have a better seed treatment. We'd sit there and go head to head with them and say ours is better, and we offer it at a very, very attractive price. So, and it comes standard.
And it's on our corn too.
It's on our corn, and we also do a version of it on wheat too. So we've always been focused on seed treatment. You may not know this, but in 1957 we sold our first bag of soybeans, and it was treated. And we've been treating ever since. Back in 1957 it was inoculant, because soybeans were a relatively new crop, and so when soybeans were introduced in the United States, they were considered a disease-free crop. Can you believe that? That has really changed. So, but anyhow, our salespeople are hitting the road, the dealers, everybody's amped up for the new year, and we've been extremely aggressive in our programs and our pricing this year. So if you haven't looked at Mershman seeds in the past, check us out. You might be surprised. Anything else that we want to add?
The drought monitor come out this week, and I don't think it's any surprise that everything went up as far as the amount of drought in the state of Iowa and across the nation, really. And we're at 0 on moisture now in this crop, and so I think this all these crops are going to mature really, really fast moving forward here. Even though we've got a little bit of cooler weather coming in for a little while.
I would agree. You better have that combine ready to go, because it looks like we're headed towards an early harvest. Well, Ben's doing his civic duty as one of the main folks at the Tri-State Rodeo in Fort Madison, Iowa. He manages a big chunk of that, of the like hospitality, you might say. And so, I came up with 2 really, I thought, pretty outstanding corny jokes for an agronomist, because, right now, you're out there looking at your field and you're seeing fungi and bacteria and all this stuff. So I thought, well, why not have a couple jokes about that? And I was telling Carly in marketing, I said, one of them's a little bit romantic too. Can you believe it? Okay, here we go. Why are bacteria so bad at math? Why are bacteria so bad at math? Because they multiply by dividing. Remember your science? Okay, all right. Now this is the one that has a little bit of romance in it, okay? What did one fungi say to another fungi when they got married? what did one fungi say to another fungi when they got married? I want to grow mold with you. I want to grow mold with you. Not old, mold with you. Hey, if Ben was here, he'd crack a little smile, you know, I just know it. Well, anyhow, thanks for watching today. We hope your family is healthy and safe, and we'll see you next week. Take care.